been a minute. It's been a minute. I guess I've been willed back to life on my casting career just due to, I think, at least 5 close friends who keep pinging me and keep asking me what the heck is going on with my podcast, what happened, why did I stop, etc., yada yada, whatever. And finally, I guess they dragged me back. I kind of miss it, I'll be honest with you. It's always been cathartic, talking and getting my feelings out on how things are going in the world, what I think is most important, etc., whatever. So anyways, I'm back, at least for the moment, and hopefully it's going to be a long return. I'd like to at least cast once a week. I think it's not such a bad thing to ask for. Um, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently going forward. I got to make it easier on me. I think the reason why I stopped to begin with is because of all the work that it takes on the back end to actually prepare and process an episode, in a sense that recording it is the most fun part, and I love doing that, and I could do that every day. But actually chopping up the episode, adding clips, creating the thumbnail, whatever, all that stuff takes so much effort, believe it or not. Like, I almost put in like 3-4 times as much effort in doing that than actually recording the clip. If I could just send it to someone to just create some generic thumbnail or something, I totally would. So if anyone knows about any of that stuff like that, that would save me so much time. But we'll see. Hopefully, less processing, more talking, more enjoying myself, more doing what we like to do. So, now that I'm back, how are you doing? Serious question. How are you doing? I think that's a question that we don't get asked often. And I had a discussion with someone about that the other day. And they sent me a clip. And the clip was, when someone asks you how you're doing, and you tell them, good, bad, whatever, the person should respond back with, well, how would you like me to respond to that? So as an example, if someone says, hey, how are you doing? And the person back says, I'm not doing great, then basically you should say, oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling great. Is there anything I can do? How would you like me to deal with that? Would you like me to just acknowledge it? Would you like me to do something about it? Or would you like to continue talking? Something like that. And I think I kind of vehemently disagree with that for a pretty big piece of reasoning, I guess. And that's just because I think that, at least for me, when I ask someone how they're doing and they tell me, I truly want to hear how they're doing. I don't just ask people, hey, how are you doing, just to pay lip service. Like, I really mean it. How are you doing? Is everything okay in your life? And if it's not, I'm going to be concerned. And what actions I take based on that, is based on the concern I have for the person, I guess. So, I think it's unfortunate that we're in a place in the world where a lot of things are being shared, and we can't even be at a spot where when someone asks you how you're doing, you're like, I'm not doing great, that you can't give them advice or, feel bad for them or try to help them in any way. You have to first ask them, how would you like me to help you? Well, I I think that's kind of like a weird new age thing where, like, everyone's afraid to, like, act based on their intuition, and they're trying to be careful of everyone else's position in the world, and I think it's just crap. So, kind of a not something I plan on talking about today, but it was at the top of my mind just a second ago as I was going. And so it's like, when you ask someone how they're doing, I think if you genuinely care about them, you should actually spend the time to figure out how they're doing, listen to them, and then whatever you think you should do to help them, you should do. I think that's part of being a good person. It's not always asking what they want, but sometimes, if you're a true friend, helping them in the way that you think is best. At least when my friends ask me, how are you doing, I expect them to help me in the way that they think is best. And if it doesn't always go along with what I like, I'm fine with that. Even if it makes me a little angry, it's like, I know that you care enough that you're putting your concern for your own feelings and how I might take them behind the fact that you care about me so much that you want to do something to make my life better or something like that, or help me if I need it, so I guess that's my thoughts on that. So again, take more time with the people you care about and genuinely figure out, if they're doing okay. I guess that's the root cause of that one, the end result of that quick snippet of discussion. But back to the original topic of what the heck is going on, how's 2022 going? Here's a new interesting fact. So I am down in the crypto world now, in a sense that I thought it was the biggest scam for a long time, and now I'm kind of changing my opinion on it, and I started investing in crypto. And I know that that's like 1.5 million people talking about this, and so like whatever you do, don't take advice from me. I'm an idiot when it comes to this, but I will say this: if you don't get investing in crypto now, you're going to be very sorely disappointed in the future. And that is for one specific thing, that the world currency is moving towards a digital currency. It's much easier to manage, and it's decentralized in the sense that we don't give the governments power over our money. So in the TLDR of it is basically, right now, if you put, $100 in the bank, it's losing money. It's not really making interest that matches the inflation rate. As the prices of items go up, our interest rate on the money that we save in banks is not going up. And that's because our government is printing dollars, at least in the United States. We printed, I believe, something like 40% of the entire dollars in circulation were printed in the last, 12 months or something like that, something insane like that. So that means the value of our dollar is going down. So basically you have one side where the value of your dollar is going down. And how do you combat that? Well, if you move towards a digital currency that's kind of based more or less around the world, essentially, and kind of leverages all the countries instead of just one, it kind of evens that out in a sense that the value of your dollar goes further based on, obviously, speculation. So it's not that it's not risky or anything. It's simply that you take the power of the government out of the interest rate that you're getting back on your money. And so what I have at least believed that is that in the future, that is the way to go. I think that it's inevitable, and I think we're at a point where if you want to buy something, you shouldn't have to worry about, is it in, this currency or that currency. It's just, in a digital currency, and that's where everything's going. So get on that train investing now. Learn as much as you can. You don't have to learn everything in the world to make a few purchases. There's some big ones. If you want something that's more solid, just buy Bitcoin. Pretty simple. I actually don't own any Bitcoin, but I own other cryptos. But if you want something that is likely to go up and will be adopted by a lot of countries, as evidenced by many countries making that their national currency, I believe 2 or 3 at this point in time. I think it was Venezuela or Brazil, one of them recently made it their national currency. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but and I think there might be a country towards the Middle East or maybe around the Russia area, one of those Eastern European countries that might have adopted crypto as a national currency as well. So I think there's 2 in the world currently. But with that being said, it's important to diversify your portfolio and get a hand in this crypto market while you can, because if you wait, it's not that it will be a problem. It's simply that you're going to miss out, right? So let's say you waited till crypto became as big as it gets, whatever, and it takes over, okay? What's the downside to that? The downside to that essentially is that now you're not really making any money off of it. So if you're more risk averse, I still recommend doing it, but maybe put 5-10% of your portfolio in crypto, and I think you'll start to see over the long run how valuable that can possibly be. Think about it. I don't recommend anything that I don't do myself, and so it's taken me a year to get here, but I am full on board, and I think it's the way of the future. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't still invest in stocks and various other things like that, because again, it's important to have a diversified portfolio. Which I'm actually, that's kind of where I made a good chunk of change, is actually in investments in stocks. So keep doing that, hands 100%. But make sure that you also start slowly investing in crypto. I recommend a little bit faster at a more moderate pace, just because that's where everything kind of is now. But if you're more risk averse, start slow, learn as much as you can. And if you don't want to learn anything, just buy Bitcoin. It's pretty simple. So that's my little crypto spiel. So hopefully I don't talk about crypto too much anymore, because I know that it's like, I'll be honest with you, mind-numbingly boring to hear someone talk about crypto to me 24/7 if that's like the first thing we've talked about in a while. So I hate hearing about it, so I'm sure you guys do too. Which brings me to my next point, and something that I think is just as important as decentralized currency, is taking back power from the corporations and companies we work in. That is quite a broad topic. However, we are in an age where someone coined the term the Great Reset or something like that. Basically, like all these people leaving work and just going to do what they want outside of their job. They're quitting. They're quitting their jobs. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it might be called something else. It's called the Great Resignation, maybe, not Great Reset, Great Resignation, something like that, whatever the heck it is. Again, you look it up, you figure it out. Maybe I'll correct it. I probably won't, though, but you get the point. But, we're in this place where all these people are kind of leaving work for things that they like, and they're leaving for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that they're unhappy with the way they've been treated by their employers, and that can be anything from salary unhappiness. It can be anything from getting too many hours. It can be anything from not getting enough respect, not getting promoted. And it is causing so many people to leave that it is becoming a national issue to a certain degree for the companies and corporations. Now, this does benefit probably in the largest degree in any time that I can remember since I've been born, the working person, which is obviously something we should all be striving to do and take care of and support. We have a time and place where essentially the government, at least in the United States, is controlled by these corporations, and what they do to control the government, outside of like crazy conspiracy theory stuff, this is just basic, but they hire lobbyists to lobby our senators and our representatives to support different laws, and those lobbyists will hire on senators or hire on staff after they're done as kind of like corporate kickbacks, and the companies will do that as well, so that when they're in office they support the policies the company wants, and when they're out of office they don't support those policies, if you will. And so we have this state of the United States where essentially all of our laws are written by companies. So that means if you have a lot of money and you're a big corporation, you're essentially creating laws in a tertiary way, roundabout way, but more or less that's what's happening. The people don't have the power anymore. We can vote for people, but those people that we vote for are all put up by corporations. I'd say 99% of them. It's very hard to find someone that actually has morals and values and doesn't take money and doesn't really give a shit what the corporations want, and basically just puts out their opinion and does things based on how they think things should be run. So it's very hard to find someone like that. However, they do exist. Now, back to what I'm saying. Now that we're in this period of, again, don't quote me on this, but I think Great Reset is what they called it, and you have all these people leaving, these companies are getting hit left and right because they're like, oh crap, I can't pay this person, minimum wage anymore. I have to pay more. And it's great because, we're at a time and place where finally, if you feel that you are not getting the value out of a company that you're putting in, if you feel like a company is not treating you properly, if your employer is not taking care of you, then it is the best time, since I can remember, in the entire United States at least, and a lot throughout the world, so this does carry on to other countries as well, to quit your job. Quit your job, find another one. Now, the order of that, I think, is you should find another job, ask your boss, say, hey, I want that raise, I want that promotion, I want those less hours, I want to work from home, whatever it is. If they say no, say, okay, I've got another job on the line. Here's what they're offering me, what I want. Do you want to match it? If not, I'm leaving. Then you leave. The other job's going to pay you more, it'll treat you better, and they'll care for you. And that's what companies are finding out right now. It's a great time to be an employee. So if you don't take advantage of this, then that's going to be something problematic in the long run. You know, I think it's important that every once in a while in your career, depending on where you are, you take a step back and say, is this right for me? Am I getting what I want? Is my job fulfilling? And there's been periods in time where it's been harder to say, okay, well, what do I do with that information now? Who knows? You know, is my job fulfilling? Is it not fulfilling? If it's not fulfilling, what do I do? Can I get another job? Is it too difficult to find something? Is my financial situation going to be okay? Can I take care of my family? And when the economy is generally not doing well, the answer is, you know, maybe stay in what you're working with, hold it out, wait a bit, and see where things go. But now that we're in this great reset period, the opportunity to find something that is perfect for you has never been better. And so I'd recommend that you take the time to really think about that. Think about what is most important to you. Think about what you want, and think about how you're going to get it. And if those three things are not aligned to the current career or job you're in, make the move. Leave. You have the power now. Companies can't hold on to these people anymore. They're freaking out, for lack of a better term. You know, turnover is so high in so many companies. They're doing everything they can to keep people, but they're not going to learn unless people start leaving, which they're doing. And so the ability to move around has increased significantly. Heck, even if you're serving tables at a restaurant, you can go across the street now and find the same job for twice as much pay. And maybe less, you know, maybe more benefits, less hours, whatever it is. You know, that's the state of, you know, where we are currently. So take that as it is. Do what you want with the information. But if anything, seriously take a look down and see if that's something that you consider. Now, if you like your job, if you like where you're working, if you're happy with things, or if you have a commitment that you have to ride out, do it. But still take the time to think about that. And the reason is I'm predicting that even if you have to ride out a job for a few years for one reason or another, and every reason's unique for people, having the thought in your brain that, okay, what am I going to do when that period's done? Maybe I'm going to switch then. That's important too. So consider it, do it, rock it, whatever you guys need to do to get it done. I'm sure you'll get it done. Now, next up, making 2022 your best year. It is January 14th today. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't start this cast or whatever and do it earlier, because I think this resonates more now than it did earlier in the year. At the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, you know, the first couple days, everyone's making these crazy resolutions. I don't make resolutions. I don't believe in them. I'm not saying they're bad. However, if you're someone that makes resolutions, keep doing it. If not, don't do it. But the point of what I'm getting at is this. It is the 14th day of 2022. So anything you committed to doing in the end of 2021 or very early 2022, have you still stuck with it? Did you take up that new hobby you wanted? Did you learn the new thing? Did you at least start learning it? Did you create a plan to learn it? Did you, do whatever gym stuff you have that you're thinking about? Did you contact the folks that maybe you haven't stayed in touch with in a very long time? Whatever your plan is, whatever you're doing, have you continued to do it? The key to achieving any of your goals is very simple: consistency. it's not always meeting the mark, because we can't. We're human. We fail all the time. Hell, I fail more than anyone else I know. But the point of the matter is consistently getting back up to push towards the goals you want is the most important thing. And so, again, the reason why I'm saying this now is, now that we're 14 days in the year, you have the opportunity to continue doing each day if you've, set something you want to do for yourself, what you planned on doing, or you can reset now. We're so early in the year that if we didn't get around to it, it's time to do it, right? And even if you haven't started it, maybe there's some reason you can't start whatever it is you want to do, create a plan for it, when you're actually going to take care of it, when you're going to do it, right? And I find that creating a plan for something holds you to it a little bit better. It makes you think about it more, and it helps you kind of actually get started and get it done. Another technique you can use is actually telling people about what you want to do. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I saw this crazy video online of these folks dancing or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to swing dance this year. I think it's crazy looking, and I'm like, I don't know that I could do that at all, but I want to learn because it looks cool. Now, have I done anything with that yet? No. That is a goal that I am miserably failing at this year. Okay. So while I'm failing at that goal, what I'm going to do probably this weekend, see, I'm saying probably, so I'm already not getting around to it, essentially, is create a plan, find a facility that, I can learn from, and then just take the rest of the year to kind of learn how to do it or not. A few other goals that I've had in mind of getting started and learning in is, a few career goals that I've kicked off full steam. I've got some, health and wellness goals. I started my intermittent fasting again, which I highly recommend from anyone. It's one of the best things you can do. That's been going strong. It's pretty simple. You just eat one meal a day, and you don't have to do that every day of the week, but you can if you want. Obviously, when you eat that meal, for me, it's dinner. You want to get lots of veggies, clean starches and carbs, and a good protein source. And I feel hella good. My skin's cleared up. Got a nice little radiance going on. I got my fitness in check a little bit. I hurt my back towards the end of the year, back in November, right at the end of, right before Thanksgiving, that is. And I hurt it pretty badly. I was doing some lifting. And when I was squatting down, I decided to rack up a little bit more weight than I should have, which it wasn't even my max. But the point of the matter is I didn't warm up to it. Okay. And so I ego lifted, which is something I literally never do. I'm someone who starts at the lightest weight and then works my way up to where I go to. But someone was squatting and they were at the bar and they're like, oh, are you up next? Do you need are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to squat next. And he's like, do you want me to remove the weight from the bar? And I'm like, no, I got this. And he's like, oh, wow, you got this. And I'm like, yeah. So I did it, because obviously it wasn't my max or whatever, but what I should have done is warm up. So I was like, oh, I can do this. I'm better than him. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm just some absolute fool for doing this. And then I tweaked my back real bad. And so I literally haven't been able to lift heavy at all since like the end of Thanksgiving. And last night, and I think that's probably what motivated me to actually do this podcast, like I actually did get about 70% of where I used to be. So my strength's back about 70%, but that made me feel good. It made me feel like I'm making some significant progress in healing up, and, health and wellness, keeping fit, staying lean is something that is important to me, but, and again, this is a complete tangent, but back to where I'm going, like 2022, make it your best year. We've had enough shit happen to us in 2020, 2019, 2021, where I think the whole world is just in this position that they want to be better. And I don't mean that in any specific way. Like, they want to feel better, whether it be financially, socially, mentally, physically, or, spiritually, whatever it is. But I think we are all kind of just done with it, in a sense that the stuff that's been going on in the world has changed our day-to-day norms so much that kind of where we are is the new norm. And I don't think many people like that, but we're all content with it in a sense that we know that we have to do that. And so why we should make 2022 our best year is because we have to start breaking out of that. We have to start breaking out of the slump that we're in a sense that we need to get back to a normal level of operating that we're all comfortable with. We have to get back to a place that makes us happy, that we feel fulfilled in. We have to get back to a place that helps us grow. I think right now there's not many people growing, and I would relate that due to the times that we're in. So let's push through it. Let's get back into the groove of things. I'm going to be casting again pretty shortly. I'm enjoying it. This was great. This made me feel good. I miss you guys, and look out for the next one. It won't be too long. I think weekly is good. Oh yeah, new setup, by the way. Ta-da! I like it like this. So got a lovely standing desk, so maybe you'll actually get to see the full versions of these two lovely pictures behind me. And always I got Mando over here, which is nice. Little cat rest for when they come up. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys next time, and make it your best.